What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and another Ice Track Trials video. Today we're going to be taking 3 different cars on the Mercedes-Benz Ice Track Trials Track 2 like we always do, and we have a little bit of a different mixture of cars today to just spice it up a little bit. So we start off with the Mercedes-AMG GTR. This is a road car. I believe it's in the Road C category. So we're looking in the same category as the Aston Martin GT12 that went out a couple of episodes ago. Now that car did not do well. It's currently really far down in, just really far down the leaderboard in like 19th place or something. It's really not doing so well at the moment. However, I was hoping that this would do a little bit better, and as soon as I started driving it, I could feel that this car was actually driving pretty well. You know, you could chuck this car around quite a lot more. You could really just get it going around the corners. It did take me a few attempts to get the best run I could out of this car. I think a few times I just pushed it a little bit too hard, you know, slightly spun it around, went up the snow banking or something. However, on the most part, this wasn't too difficult to drive. However, I think, you know, the fact that it just for some reason could take so much more speed than that Aston Martin, I really don't know what that Vantage GT12 was doing. It was just a really bad car around here. However, this, it's in the same class, you know, obviously because it's in the same class, has similar specs to the Aston Martin, but for some reason this is just a lot nicer to drive. You can really chuck it around the track a lot, and really have quite a lot of fun with it. You know, I had quite a lot of fun driving this thing around the ice track. You know, it's a rear-wheel drive, of course, a very, very long car. You know, the AMG Mercedes are very well known for that being rather long, especially at the front. But, you know, altogether, this wasn't too bad. Really wasn't. You could, you know, it had some fair good speed about it. You could fair chuck it around. It was all around just a pretty fun car. Pretty good one to start off with. You know, I liked starting off with slightly easier cars. I mean, you know, this is a road car that's not necessarily designed to be driving on the snow like this, the snow and the ice. But, you know, when you see the cars that are coming up after this, this is probably the most, well, it's definitely the most practical. We go over the line with the Mercedes. Next up, we have the McLaren P1 GTR. Now, first of all, I don't know why the wing isn't showing. For some reason, the wing is not visible in this replay. I don't know if it was visible when I was driving the car or not. I didn't really check. I drive, well, in this series, I drive on bumper view. So I don't really know what's going on there. Yeah, it has the kind of, what do you call it, the scaffolding, I suppose, for the spoiler, but the actual spoiler on top isn't showing up in the replay for some reason. I don't know what's going on there, but hey, whatever. I tried loading the replay a couple of times, it didn't do anything, so I guess we'll just leave it how it is. Now this is, of course, I mean, it's a P1, so it's a hypercar, a very, very powerful car. However, the GTR is like the race spec version of the P1. I think this has about 1,000 horsepower, maybe just a bit more. So it's a pretty ridiculous thing. Once again, of course, it's rear-wheel drive. However, as soon as I drove this, I was like, Jesus, this is going around well. This thing stuck to the road really well. You'd expect a race car like this to just not stick to the ice very well. I mean, I'm pretty sure the game automatically puts more suitable tyres on the cars. You know, it puts kind of snow and ice tyres when you're on tracks like this for whatever car you're driving. But all in all, you wouldn't expect a race car like this, especially, you know, going off the other race cars similar to this that I've driven in this series so far. I wasn't expecting this thing to drive amazingly well, but you know what? It was really good. So good, in fact, that I actually got a happy run, a good clean run, fast clean run, on my first run around the track, which is something that I don't do very often with any cars. And to do it with this, I think it's definitely a first. I mean, this was actually really good to drive. Of course, yeah, you had to be careful. You know, you couldn't take crazy speed around the corners because you would slide and understeer because of the ice, but all in all, it was actually a pretty damn good car to drive around here, and that's pretty unexpected as I fly over the finish line. The final car for today is the Panoz Esperante GTR 1. Yeah, we've got 3 cars with GTR in the name today, which I didn't do on purpose, just kind of happened when I was picking out the cars. I was like, oh, these all have GTR in the name. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, an interesting car this. I've never actually driven it. I've never even really heard of it. Panoz isn't a car manufacturer that I've heard of. I don't think they make road cars. I think they just make kind of race cars. This is a GT1 car, so a pretty quick beast. Fairly old, at least from what I can tell by looking at it. I didn't look at the year, but just by looking at it, it kind of looks like, your kind of 90s sort of GT car, I guess. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it probably will be, though, because it's in the category with the Ferrari F50, I believe, and a couple of other cars from the, late 80s, 90s sort of area. Now, this thing was a bit more difficult to drive than the previous two cars, especially with cars like this, very race designed cars with all the aerodynamics and the downforce and all that. They don't tend very well on courses like this. That's why I was kind of confused and surprised by the McLaren, because cars like this usually, especially because they're going a lot slower than they usually would, they don't like going around slow corners, and that was definitely the case for this car. As soon as you got a bit of speed up, if you could get any speed up, it actually wasn't too bad. It gripped fairly well. However, at slower speeds, which is most of the time on this course, you're going at slow speeds. I don't even know if you get over 100 miles an hour on this course, maybe right at the end. But very rarely. You probably get up to about 80 through the fastest section inside the actual track. So the slow corners with this, the car just wanted to slide off power. So it was a little bit terrifying to drive. Took me a little while, but I eventually did it. So let's look at the times for today. The quickest car of the day is the McLaren P1 GTR, with a 2 minutes .102. Sorry, the leaderboard's miles away from me. It's really far away. Yeah, the McLaren P1 GTR goes quickest today. Absolutely amazing. I was really surprised at how quick that car was. That comes in, I didn't say, I think in 5th place. And then we have to go down to 10th place for the Mercedes-AMG GTR with a 2 minutes 3.050. Very good time from that. And just behind it in 11th place for the Panoz with a 2 minutes 3.320. So all the times today are actually pretty decent. We have 3 pretty quick cars today, and especially the McLaren. The McLaren getting in 5th place, it means it's the quickest rear-wheel drive car now, and it actually beats the Nissan Skyline. So that's pretty crazy. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.